The story I'm about to read is called The Wind Charmer. As long as people have walked upon this earth, there have been strong forces at work. One such force is the wind charmer. This often appears as a beautiful woman, but don't be fooled by her beauty, as she, if she is a she at all, is a cunning and mischievous spirit. The wind charmer can undo anyone's hard work in a matter of seconds, for the wind charmer is always on the lookout for any opportunity to make mischief. On this particular day it was still, bright, and warm autumn day. The gardener of a large estate had spent all morning raking up fallen leaves into piles. The gardener thought to himself, "I'm glad I picked today to rake up all those leaves, as there has been no wind at all." But the gardener was being watched by the naughty spirit called the wind charmer, hidden from sight, but she was there watching and waiting for the right moment. The gardener had finally finished putting all the leaves into piles, and was leaning on his rake admiring the work he had done. He was just taking a short rest before he was going to gather the piles of leaves and take them away to a nice enclosed compost heap where the wind couldn't take them. The mischievous wind charmer skipped up onto the edge of a fountain that was the centerpiece of the main garden, dressed in a floaty white dress that shimmered when she moved. The wind charmer lifted a finger and made a simple circular motion with it, around and around. The gardener saw the beautiful spirit balanced on the fountain and shouted at her, "Hey, excuse me, young lady, but be careful you don't fall in." Then his eyes were drawn to a small whirlwind gently turning around and around, moving from pile to pile, sending the leaves back to once they lay before. With a little outward flick of her hand, the wind charmer sent a gust of wind to finish the job. The leaves now neatly spread as if they had just fallen from the trees. The wind charmer's work was done. The gardener, with his mouth wide open in despair, turned his head back towards where the young lady had been on the fountain, but she had gone. The gardener rushed over to the fountain to make sure that the young lady had not fallen in, but there was nobody to be seen. Upon that very same day the wind charmer saw yet another opportune moment for some more mischief. There was a man trying to start a bonfire in his garden. He had stacked everything so neatly in a heap, one layer facing the same way and then another layer facing the other way, going across the heap, with gaps in between. This was so that when the fire took hold, it would be a quick, hot burn. At the base of the heap was a small opening where the man had put some old scrunched-up newspaper, and on top of that, lots of dried twigs no thicker than a matchstick, and again, all neatly laid. The man thought to himself, "This is going to be such a quick burn. It'll be over in a few minutes." The man took a match out of a matchbox and struck it on the rough side of the box, carefully shielding the flame with the other hand. The match burst into bright flame, and he bent down to light the newspaper. Just as the lit match was about to touch the newspaper, the wind charmer, who was hiding from sight, simply waved her hand and the match went out. Again the man tried. He took the match from the matchbox and carefully lit it. Again, just as he got it to the newspaper, out went the flame. The man tried yet again, but this time He got on his knees and struck the match on the matchbox right next to the newspaper. The match lit, and the wind charmer waved her hand in front of her body, and once more the match went out. Determined to light his bonfire, the man went to his shed and got an old oil lamp, which he lit before he went outside. He carried the lamp to the bonfire, and taking out another piece of newspaper, he lit it from the lamp and placed it into the scrunched up newspaper on the fire, and finally the fire was lit. The man said in a loud voice, "Curse you, wind, when I don't need you, you blow my flame out. And now I do need you, you will not find my flame." So the fire just burned slowly. The wind charmer laughed, delighted with herself, and thought, "My work here is done." The wind charmer skipped on towards a nearby village, and stood in the street looking for her next opportunity. A postman passed by with the letters he had just collected, but one was just poking out of the sack at the top. The wind charmer saw this and seized the opportune moment. She pointed a finger at the envelope, then bent it back and flicked it out straight. The letter flew out of the sack and sent it a few yards away from the postman. The postman went over to pick it up, but just as he bent down to put his hand out to get it, the wind charmer did an underarm bowling motion with her hand and sent the letter flying off down the street. The postman chased after the letter. When it had come to rest, he again bent down to pick it up. Another slight gesture from the wind charmer, and off the letter went again. The postman tried stamping on the letter with his foot, but to no avail, for every time he got near to tread on it, off it went again. The wind charmer was very pleased and laughed, watching the postman dance around with the work she was creating. The postman was running this way, then that, up and down the street. Finally the letter got caught in a fence. It could not blow any further. The postman finally got the letter and put it back in his sack. The wind charmer's fun with the postman had come to an end. But her mischief was not over in the street, as she managed to take off several people's hats before she had all her fun in that particular village. So if you are ever sat by a campfire or stood near a bonfire, and somehow, no matter where you stand or sit, the smoke from the fire always seems to find you and blow in your face, well, that is the work of the wind charmer up to her mischief.